Okay, now I'm going to try this guy again. This is the little Cub S, my old beat-up Cub S. Now I've taken the floats off him. Devil of a time I had getting this off as well, because at one point when I crashed him a bit, I landed him a bit bumpily. The plastic piece here that was holding the foam in ripped out, so I glued it with cyanoacrylate, and the cyanoacrylate got into the groove, so I had a devil of a time getting the float strut out of that. I had to use the cyanoacrylate, whatever you call it, freer dissolver stuff, and you scrape the whole thing out with a knife and whatever. It was a devil of a job, and as you can see I chewed the foam away a bit, had to repair it. Anyway, the whole point was to put wheels back on him. Yeah, that's not going to help, is it? Put wheels back on him, and I've put bigger wheels on. I changed the wheels, put the wheels off him, and I changed the wheels out for what are these Dubro 1.5-inch mini light wheels. I would have put bigger ones on if I could, but the 1.5-inch ones seem to be the biggest that Dubro make in these mini light wheels. When you go up to the 1 3/4-inch wheels, they don't seem to make this kind. They only make sort of heavier wheels with bigger, designed for bigger axles and whatever. Whether these are going to get anywhere, I think something bit my back now. Whether these are going to get anywhere with him taking off the grass, I don't know. I mean, they're bigger than the other ones, but they're still pretty darn small to run on grass. And he's a very light plane, of course. He wouldn't take off the grass with the floats either. He landed nicely on it, but he wouldn't take off. Partially I'm doing this because I'm thinking at some point I might try putting an FPV camera on this guy. And I think it would be asking too much to try and do that with the floats.
Throttle cut off.
No. Nope. It's not even pretending to try and think about moving, is it? And you'd think they might move. Oh, there you go. Oh, it's like a golf ball. If you tee them up, you can sort of get away with it. But you've got to sort of balance the wheels on the top of some blades of grass to get him started. Would you even have believed that was possible? I mean, he wasn't moving at all the first time I tried. I just kind of teed the wheels up on the grass. Oh, it's windy here. You can see him rocking away there. There's some serious, well, not serious, but fairly noticeable wind up there. Yeah, actually he's in beginner mode now as well.
Intermediate mode, experienced mode.
Let's take that off and see what he's doing. Oh, he's also quite likely trimmed somewhat wrong, because he was trimmed for the floats, of course. Although, you know, amazingly enough, you'd think, I mean, for example, the Cessna, I had to put a ton of up trim in when I put the floats on, because of the drag of the floats. The little UMX Cessna, I put those same floats on the UMX Cessna, and to get him to fly even approximately level, this guy won't even loop, will he, unless you give him a dive first to build up speed. But to get the UMX Cessna to fly even halfway sensibly with those floats, I had to put a ton of up trim in him, because he really reacted badly to the drag. On the other hand, I don't remember when I put the floats on this guy that I've just taken them off without changing the trim. Basically, he seems to be flying fine. Because I'm not sure you could up trim this guy. And this guy just does not much want to go up. Yeah, but I mean, you'd think he would be up trimmed, taking the floats off. But I don't see any particular sign he is. See, he's much less prone to stall now. If I'd have done that with the floats on, he would have stalled horribly. I mean, maybe he stalled then, but, you know, it was hardly noticeable. He didn't really do anything. I mean, he's generally like this, without the floats on. He's a very benign flyer. He was a much less benign flyer with the floats on. If I'd have done that, just lifted the nose like that with the floats, he would have dropped like a stone, and I would have had to have recovered him quickly. Or he would have gone into a spin. But now, you know, well, I mean, he's still stalling, I suppose, but he's just stalling like totally benignly. He doesn't drop like he did with the floats on. So there's no doubt he flies a lot nicer without the floats. Quite a Oh, Jesus. I mean, sorry. But that was, I mean, you know, the idea there was I was going to go for a loop, but I ended up diving more than I meant to. Ugh. That was an attempt at an Immelman turn, but this guy doesn't roll very fast. Well, not when I'm flying. Anyway, okay, that proved point one. I'm actually going to cheat and put him back in beginner mode for the... Whoops, God, that's a jerk. But for the landing, because I'm not... Basically because I'm not trying to practice my landings. I'm sure I could land him one way or another in expert without, you know, the stabilization. But I just want to see if I can get him to land on the grass without turning over. That's basically my entire intent here. Where's the wind coming from? I don't know. It's a bit hard to say, isn't it? I'm feeling maybe in front of me and to the left slightly. In that I'm, well, maybe not, maybe behind me and to the left. I don't know. It certainly seems to be coming from the left, but there's not much of it. You know, I'm just trying to figure out where the wind's coming from. Because I figure off, is that timer correct? I've got a 250 milliamp hour MCPX battery in him, which is what I usually fly him with, not the little 150 micro that he comes with. I think this is as much into the wind as we can do. Oh, that was a pretty hopeless landing. I wonder if I've got enough. Can I get him off again? Yeah. I just want to try the landing again, because that was kind of such a hopeless landing. It didn't really... He did stay without falling over, but he didn't really prove much. Well, maybe I'd be better. And he's going up when I don't want him to. I wonder if... Oh, I don't want to land all the way over there. Let's go round again. No, I'm just wondering if I can land him without him tipping over. Well, he didn't tip over then, but that was bizarre. That wasn't really a sensible landing. He does seem, I guess, to be gaining a bit of altitude that I don't necessarily want him to, and then maybe that partially is because of the trim that I put into the floats. But he's not terrible. Okay.
Time remaining 1 minute.
See, with the floats, I would always fly him into the ground, although it's hard to do. It's really hard to fly him into the ground with the... no, he tipped over then. Oh, well. The best... Well, he didn't fall right over on his nose, but he tipped. I was trying to bring him down, fly him in as level and gently as possible. I don't know. He certainly flies better with these wheels than with the floats. The whole landing and takeoff on grass thing is a bit marginal. Mind you, the Champ, I was flipping right over onto his top every time when I landed him on the grass. I put bigger wheels on him as well. Oh. Well, a sort of mixed success there. You can get him to take off the grass, although if you put the extra weight of a FPV camera on him, I don't know whether that will still hold. It's only it's only about like what is it? Like 4 grams or something, that tiny little camera, the VA 1100. It's very light, 4 or 5 grams or something. But it's all weight. Anyway, so we might get him to take off the grass. We'll certainly get him to take off of a runner if we put a runner down. But he's probably still going to tip when he lands on the grass. Oh, well. I mean, I just wish I could stop them flipping over, because it's not, you know, if you've got an FPV camera on the top here and they flip over, you're throwing the aerial into the grass, which is not nice. Anyway, so mixed success with the new wheels on here.